Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be having a Raptor battle. We're going to be comparing the F-150 Raptor with the 37 Performance Package to the Ford Bronco Raptor, which, well, comes standard with 37s from the factory. Before we get into this video, though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Southtown Imports for giving me some time with this Bronco Raptor. This Bronco Raptor is available for sale for the time being, so if you're interested, I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. They also sell the new Mitsubishi product if you're interested. Like I said, link to their inventory in the description down below. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for Nick. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money, the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So starting with the F-150 Raptor, we have a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 450 horsepower and then 510 pound-feet of torque, and you can reasonably expect to get about 15 miles per gallon. And also, if your engine bay doesn't look like this, then you're not a real Raptor owner. And well, if we compare that to the very clean engine bay of the Bronco Raptor, we've got a turbocharged 3-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs 418 horsepower and about 442 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy with this, you can expect to get about 16 miles per gallon. So what have we learned? Well, the F-150 has a larger powertrain, but its fuel economy rating is not all that much lower compared to what the Bronco Raptor is. However, the Bronco Raptor, although it has less power than the F-150 Raptor, it's not that much less. Now, before we go over the front ends, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Starting with the F-150 Raptor, obviously this is built off of an F-150, so you have a lot of F-150 elements with this, including the hood, but we obviously have the Raptor venting there in the center, and then we got the F-150 headlights, and then notice we got the Raptor fog lights, which are pretty cool, and at the bottom here with the Raptor bash plate, we do have the chunky Ford grille, by the way. 13.1 inches of ground clearance with the 37 Performance Package. And then popping over to the Bronco Raptor here, you guys can see again, we've got like Raptor venting there on the hood. And then notice we got the Bronco headlights, but then Ford logo there. And then the bash plate here. But notice how much more aggressive the like front end is here on the Bronco Raptor compared to the F-150 Raptor. And it basically shows in the approach angle figures. This has a much better approach angle, but it still has 13.1 inches of ground clearance. So ground clearance is the same, but approach angle is way better with the Bronco Raptor compared to the F-150 Raptor. Now with the 37 Performance Package, we've got 17-inch wheels with 37-inch tall tires wrapped around them. 35s are standard with the Raptor. And then you guys can see here with the big chunky fender flares here, we got the Raptor style side step. Notice the venting there on the side. And well, this is a lot longer than the Bronco Raptor. That is for sure, because again, it's a big full-sized pickup truck. Now with the Bronco Raptor, 37s are standard 17-inch wheels, and then we have gigantic fender flares here. We actually have cool Raptor style side steps, and then you guys can see this is so much shorter, again, just being an SUV versus a full-size pickup truck. Now obviously the key fobs are going to be a little bit different because the F-150 has a bed, so it's got the bed drop down, but they both have the Raptor logo there on the back, so I think that's pretty fun. Now that we've had our key fob information, I quickly want to talk about shocks. They both have the same style of shocks. They're live valve shocks from Fox. And then here are the shocks over on the Raptor, well, F-150 Raptor, I should say. And because we have the same style of shocks, we have 13 inches of travel in the front, 14 in the rear. And guess what? 13 inches of travel in the front, 14 in the rear. And then obviously, since this is a Bronco, you guys can see everything is closed off. And I do like the Raptor style taillights here with the Bronco Raptor. And then you got like the marker lights built into above the tire carrier and then also on the mirror caps. Whereas with the F-150 Raptor, I feel like it's more of like a normal marker light situation because you can see they're here on the fender flares in the back. So a little bit of a different setup there. And then obviously we got the truck bed. You've got truck utility versus, you know, SUV utility over there. Now let's quickly see the difference with the interiors. So just pay attention to like the overall theme here. And then yeah, I've got the blue seats, which I feel like match very nicely to that Bronco Raptor. Space back here, I think that's gonna be the thing you guys want to see the most. And the F-150 is going to be the space difference, which it's huge back here. And then popping over to the Bronco, notice we still have blue here, but it looks like it's a little bit darker almost with the blue. I definitely like the code orange in the seats though, that's cool. Getting in's a little bit more difficult. It feels like it's almost higher up off the ground, which is weird. Yeah, definitely more cramped. So there's way more room in the F-150 than there is here on the Bronco Raptor. And then popping to the front of the F-150, you guys can see again the door panel, what that looks like. And then the mirrors are actually attached to the doors themselves, also like the carbon fiber. And then look at the seats. This is actually another big difference. Now they're both blue with the orange stitching, but you'll see when we pop over to the Bronco. And then notice like all the controls right there. And also the door sounds really sturdy when you close it on the F-150, because you can't take it off. But notice the Raptor style of steering wheel. Paddle shifters are actually different between them, funny enough. But notice we've got like our steering, suspension, and exhaust change. And then you guys can see I wasn't lying with my fuel economy, 15.3, but full digital gauge cluster. And we got some cool animations here for the drive modes. The main stuff that I use is like normal, sport, Baja. I don't really use any of the other modes. And then we've got the 360 camera system with this. They actually have the same 12-inch display. And then this has the offered cruise control. Now mine's a 21 Raptor, so it doesn't have the trail turn assist, but you can get that with the newer Raptors. And then something that's very important to note, I only have a rear locking differential here with the F-150 Raptor. It does have a Torsen front differential though, which kind of acts like a front locker. And then this whole center console area obviously is just straight out of the F-150, but it says Raptor there at the top, which is pretty cool. And then we got auxiliary switches here, and then we do have a panoramic sunroof in my particular truck, so you do have that. But the biggest thing to note is insulation here is going to be way better because, well, you can't take off the top and the doors like that. And then popping over to the Bronco, you guys can see with the door panel still have like all the blue, but look at the seats. They're way different looking, especially with the orange there. But they are power adjustable, which is nice. But listen to this. Obviously, it just doesn't sound as sturdy because frameless window and you can take the door off. But very similar style steering wheel. This one feels a little bit different than the F-150s. It's kind of like smaller with the diameter. And then the paddle shifters are different too. The F-150 has the paddle shifters from the Gen 2 Raptor, whereas this has the paddle shifters from like the GT500. I know because I own a GT500, so they're kind of more similar to those ones. But also we can still adjust exhaust, suspension, all that, have the R mode, steering adjustment. And then you can see here with the digital gauge cluster in the center. And then we still have a bunch of different drive modes, just like the F-150. Notice with the cool animations, they're pretty much the same as the F-150, which is fun. Still have a 360 camera system, like the F-150. Now, this isn't gonna pop up on camera because the sunlight's horrible right now, but this has a stabilizer bar disconnect, front and rear lockers, trail turn assist. So this is gonna be a little bit more capable with crawling. And then also the angles in this is gonna help out. And then here's kind of what this whole center console area looks like. Obviously it's, you know, Bronco-ized. You can see Raptor there in the center as well. We still have auxiliary switches here at the top, 6 of them. And then obviously we can take off the top with this. And then this does have reinforcement because, you know, Raptor life, right? Now when it comes to pricing, there's actually a little bit of a price difference. So like a fully loaded Bronco Raptor is gonna be like mid 80s, and then a fully loaded F-150 Raptor is gonna be about $90,000 roughly. So there's just a little bit of a price difference. That's obviously before market adjustments. I will say the market on the Bronco Raptors is way more ridiculous than the F-150 Raptors. So this truck, if it was a 23 with a 37 performance package, is probably about $105,000 to $110,000, maybe $115,000. Whereas this thing as a 23 in today's market, I mean, on the low side, you're looking at like 120, but there's a lot of places that'll have these posted for 130, 140,000 plus dollars. So they definitely go for a much bigger premium over MSRP compared to the F-150s. Okay, so we're setting off in the F-150 Raptor, aka my Raptor. Now I'm purposefully driving, there's a snow pile, don't worry about it. I'm purposefully driving this one second and then the Bronco Raptor last. When I say second, I drove the Bronco Wild Track first. Now the reason that I am doing it that way is because I want to see if after taking my F-150 Raptor around the block and then driving a Bronco Raptor on the block afterwards, if I feel like I just upgraded or if I feel like I downgraded, right? I want to see how that difference feels. Tons of torque. Obviously, I just daily drove this up here, so it's not like I know how it drives, but I'll try to describe it for you guys in the video with expert care. And getting up and moving here. Love the exhaust. I will say, the Bronco Raptor has a valved exhaust like the F-150, but it doesn't sound good like the F-150 Raptor. Like this has more of like a, I don't know, it's like, they call it the trombone exhaust. This is more trombone-y, whereas the Bronco Raptor it's not on the same level, if that makes sense. Steering, really good on this. I guess I'll talk about the Wild Track in this video as well if you're interested in the difference between an F-150 Raptor and a Bronco Wild Track, which I don't know if there's that many of you that really care all that much. This is definitely like way quieter. Suspension's way more comfortable. It does feel way bigger though. Obviously, again, it's a pickup truck, and so it's gonna feel larger. And you feel not only like the width of this, you feel the length as well. And that's what she said. I had to do it. Gosh. Brakes are pretty good. After 10,000 miles, they're still working strong, guys. Or almost 11,000 miles now. Jeez. It's almost like I drive this thing all the time. I love the sound of it. That's one of the things I really like this new generation Raptors. It sounds so good all the time. Now I'm gonna pop it over into the sport mode, not the deep snow mode. Cool animation there. I will say I do like the transmission tuning in this versus the regular Bronco more, the Wild Track. This is like snappier. And so it'll be interesting to see if driving back to back with the Bronco Raptor feels the same level of snappy and also the same, you know, punch out of the powertrain, because again, this has 0.5 more liters, right? So, and also the handling's great in the sport mode, frankly. Here's the thing that's interesting is, despite the fact this is a lot bigger than that Bronco Wild Track, this doesn't, it handles pretty much just as good. Like it feels bigger, that's for sure, but it doesn't feel like I have any more body roll. It feels pretty similar, honestly. Like I feel like I could take a corner just as fast with this as I could with that Bronco Wild Track. And again, that shows you like how well built the suspension and the shocks are on the Raptor. There's another Bronco Raptor. So we're getting up and moving again a little bit here. I guess we'll throw a good old F-150 Raptor into manual mode. Gosh, I love the shifts with this. They're just so quick. And the thing that I love about Ford's new transmission, I don't recommend doing this all the time, but you can shift into first while moving and the transmission will just do it. It's super smooth. It's just able to handle it. This thing's quick, and it's loud too. That's the thing, is it's loud. So yeah, let's hop into the Bronco Raptor and see if I feel like I'm missing out. So setting off in the Bronco Raptor, and I will say this is kind of interesting popping into this right out of the F-150 Raptor. You hear more of everything. The exhaust is quieter. Like I said, the F-150 Raptor trombone exhaust is definitely more aggressive, but this one, it seems like you just hear more of everything that's happening. Like, because again, it's not as well insulated. Now, this doesn't weigh that much less than the F-150 Raptor. Again, the Bronco Raptor's, you know, curb weight, it's like 5,700 pounds, whereas the F-150 Raptor is like 6,000. I mean, that's pretty loud. It's not as shouty. It's just different. It's a different tone, but it's still loud. It's like, don't worry, like you'll hear the exhaust. Now, the thing that's most surprising, honestly, is the ride quality is different. This isn't quite as comfy as the F-150, but it's not far off, to be honest. This does drive smaller than the F-150 though, and it drives bigger than the regular Bronco. But again, it's just like the F-150 Raptor. It feels like it handles better than the regular Bronco. So it seems like it's kind of a little bit of a sweet spot. I'll pop it into sport mode. And I'm noticing so far on the transmission, it seems like it's just as responsive as the F-150. Yeah, let's pop it into manual mode. Yeah, it's just as responsive as the F-150 transmission. So that's very interesting. Definitely, again, just like the regular Bronco, it's noisier than the F-150. So if you're looking for cabin insulation and luxury, the F-150 is going to do that. But you know, compared to like something like a Wrangler, which is actually behind me, this is a lot more livable. There's less wind noise than like a Wrangler. It feels more insulated. The handling on this is way better than both of them, honestly. I think it's because the shorter wheelbase, you'd think there'd be less stability, which it does feel that way. But I don't know, it just feels better. But something to mention with the shocks and suspensions, this you feel more. Like the F-150, I feel like it really like isolates you from everything, whereas this, you feel more of what's happening. So this is kind of more of a, I guess, a driver's Raptor, I guess is what you could call it, because it's more, against less isolated. But the interesting thing will be to see the acceleration, if this feels significantly slower or if it feels about the same as the F-150. Let's make sure we're starting in the same. This thing feels just as quick as the F-150, to be honest. I like the blow off you get out of this. But yeah, this doesn't feel slower at all. It feels just as quick, maybe even a little bit quicker in a way. Because again, the smaller size. Oh man, I hate what I'm about to say, because I'm probably going to cause Bronco Raptor prices to increase. I like this a lot. Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Compared to the regular Bronco, like after driving this, I don't even want to look at it. That's just, I'm being honest. I love, like the regular Bronco, I think it's super capable. I understand, you know, for a lot of people, like this doesn't work within the budget and the size doesn't make sense and all that. But if this does work in your budget and if the size works, yeah, this, for me personally, like the regular Bronco is just not on the radar anymore. Now, F-150 Raptor, I think it's a better practical vehicle. I think it's like, you know, family car, all that kind of stuff, that makes more sense. But this thing's so much more fun to drive. It's just a blast. And so, you know, I guess if it were gonna be daily driver type situation, and I just realized this is a dead end here. If there's gonna be a daily driver type situation, probably choose the F-150. Although this is a better daily driver than a Jeep Wrangler. But if I didn't have a super far commute like I do, like I drive on the highway and all that kind of stuff, this thing would be better. And I still stand by this because I took one of these off-road. This is way better off-road than the F-150 Raptor. It's just, yeah. As a Raptor, you know, even though the F-150 was the original Raptor, I'd have to say that I think that this is the better Raptor. I don't know, I like this one more. Let me know which one you choose.